service where we call the audiovisual, a television service. That's right. You'd find us on Twitter, you'd find us on YouTube, and you'd find us on Facebook as we bring the visuals, match it with the audio, and allow you to have a very quality time. This is Eagle's Outlook. And yes, on this very prog show segment, we get to talk about matters that concern Nigeria's unity. And for today, we'll be jumping into the matter that bothers around the news that came aboard for the Nigeria's budget allocation, sparking an outrage right there. And yes, it has indeed sparked some outrage where the recent allocation of the 724 billion naira to the National Assembly and state assemblies has sparked controversy and is raising eyebrows among Nigerians. My name is Uduak Daniel, and we'll be having our guest in the show, but he's going to be via phone call as we go engaging on matters that concern the topical issue in discourse today. He is in the person of Mr. Adefolari Olamilekan. He's a political economist, a lead researcher, and policy analyst. Well, let's set just a little bit of tone, a background to the conversation, right? Well, the 724 billion naira that is meant as an allocation for the National Assembly and state assemblies, which of course has sparked controversy, has gone on a significant increase from the previous administration spending in this regard. And the previous administration, talking about the Buhari administration, it was 500 billion naira, and that was in 2022. So if you compare 500 billion naira and 724 billion naira, do the subtraction. You will understand what I'm saying now. So this amount, this increase is of over 44% in just 1 year, has led to some questions about the country's priorities and matters that border around the need for such a massive allocation to the assemblies. Well, according to some reports as obtained, the National Assembly alone will receive 673.94 billion naira, while the 36 states assembly will share the remaining 50 billion naira, and this amount is equivalent to approximately 500 million US dollars. Approximately 500 million US dollars is what's going on out there, especially when you look at using the current exchange rate of 1,459 naira to a dollar, which is indeed a very staggering figure considering the country's current economic challenges, as it were. But Nigeria is currently facing a high inflation rate, which is about 33.20% as of March of 2024, and this has led to this has led to the decrease in the purchasing power of citizens, the ongoing discussion for a new minimum wage, and various calls by stakeholders to depopularize political offices are somewhat a testament to the fact that Nigerians are feeling the pinch of the economic hardship. And this pinch is pinching quite hard, and it's affecting everybody. I mean, if you're not affected by this, even the rich, even though you feel you're wealthy, one way or the other you're being affected by this particular processes that's ongoing. But then we've been joined in by our guest, who's in the person of Mr. Adefolari Olamilekan. And yes, like I said earlier, he is a political economist, lead researcher, and policy analyst. Welcome, Mr. Adefolari Olamilekan, to the Prog Show this morning. Good morning. Hello.
Hello, I'm hearing.
Yes, good morning. Yeah, all right. Okay, so Mr. Adefolari, Well, there's been the issue that's ongoing, that is on ground right now, and it is the issue of the recent allocation of 724 billion naira to the National Assembly and state assemblies, and this is sparking controversy in a country where we are still battling with an inflation that stands at 33.20%. And if you are to put all of these monies together, I mean, these 724 billion naira that is meant for the National Assembly and the state assemblies and all of that, and you would discover that it is about 44% increase in just 1 year, and is already raising questions. And if you also want to have a comparative analysis of these monies compared to what was allocated for the national and state assemblies as of last year, 2022, I beg your pardon, not last year, during the Buhari administration, which was 500 billion naira, and in 2024 it is about 724 billion naira. You would discover, of course, it is a 44% increment. Yeah, and then to the place where naira, of course, is standing at 1,459 naira to a dollar. If we're to convert that, this 724 billion naira to dollars, that would be about 500 million US dollars, right? Well, I don't know. I mean, in this context, the allocation of 724 billion naira to the assemblies has been met, though, with some criticism and outrage. Many Nigerians are wondering why such a large amount is being spent on the assemblies when other critical sectors, I mean, like education, like the health sector, the healthcare, like matters that border around infrastructure development, are in dire need of funding. And then that's not even forgetting the security architecture of the country, where many have alluded that the reason we're not making the kind of visible effort in stamping out the insecurity in the country is because of poor funding. How does this come to you?
I think for me, let us first contextualize money. Let us contextualize what the money is meant for, and let us also contextualize the essence of National Assembly. Why do we have state assembly? Why do we have National Assembly? Now, to start with, the entire money is for National Assembly at the federal level,
yes,
and 36 state government.
Exactly.
I hope you get it.
Yes.
I mean, the entire 36 state House of Assembly and National Assembly put together, that is the money they're going to spend for a year. Now, inside the money, apart from the legislators who are going to be collecting their salaries, their emoluments, their constituency, whatever project, then we also have civil servants who are working in the state and National Assembly. The money is also part of it.
Right.
Then there are some capital projects that will be carried out by these assemblies. The money is also inside. So we must first understand where the money is going. Now, where we have challenges, particularly at the national level, is the emolument of legislature at the national level.
Okay.
So they can pick a peg to what is the senator is collecting, or what is the House of Reps member is collecting. At the state level too, the same thing. You don't know how much each of the state House of Assembly legislature are collecting. I hope you get it.
Exactly.
So that is where we have issues, and that is where we do have problem with budget for assemblies. But if you know entirely your budget, you cannot say because civil servants are working in that state assembly or national assembly should not be paid salaries. They have to be paid salaries. So we cannot exclude them. But where we have issue in the allocation is the amount that each of these legislators are earning, because it is not clear.
Right.
As of today, we know what the president is earning. We know what the vice president is earning. We know what the governors are earning. We know what the commissioners are earning. We know what the ministers are earning. But we don't know how much legislators are earning in Nigeria. That is where we have issue with allocation.
Yeah.
And that is how.
Yeah.
Hello?
Yeah.
So it is from that context we
Yes.
need to take the argument. Because we just want to dive into this argument and say, it is a bogus amount. But we should not forget that civil servants, Nigerians are working in the assembly. As civil servants, as public servants, they are also engaging in capital projects. That one, we cannot isolate them. But where we should be interrogating is what is going into the pocket of each member of the state assembly, and so that the member of the Senate and House of Reps at the national level.
Right.
So nobody knows the figure they are collecting.
Okay, but then it also brings some concerns, a comprehensive wisdom. But then there is an issue of the economic burden. I mean, you are a seasoned economist, and the allocation of 724 billion naira to the National Assembly and state assemblies, don't you think it will put significant burden on the Nigerian economy, which is already struggling with a high inflation rate of 33.20%? And that brings me to the question of how will then this massive allocation affect the already struggling Nigerian economy?
Now, on the aspect of the economy, the only fault that we find in this kind of bogus amount going to National Assembly, goes to the Assembly, that they are not producing anything. They are not saying anything. They are not giving back to the economy in any way. Apart from the salaries that salaries of workers, civil servants, they will pay tax. Get it? Maybe part of the salaries of the House of Reps, they also pay tax. Those are the only things you get from there. So, on the economic aspect, they are not giving back to the economy.
So they're just taking.
The economy is giving. Yes,
they're just taking. They're takers.
As much as the economy is giving back to them.
Yeah.
So that is where we have issues. So as for any point, where do we now find the balance? Where we find the balance is this. Now, this is not just happening today. Over the years since 1999, the National Assembly budget has skyrocketed. I remember as far back as 1999, 2000, the budget was not up to 100 million. But later on, begin to rise up to 100 million, to 200 million, to 300 million. And as we speak, for the 2024 budget alone, the National Assembly at the national level, their budget about 359 billion. Then when you add what the state assemblies are collecting, that's what makes it to about that 720 billion that you are talking about. So, in essence, they don't have anything they are contributing to the economy apart from the tax that we collect from salaries that the workers, the assemblies are.
All right.
But on the other way around, we also need to look at the essence of having separation of power in democracy. Get it? Separation of power in democracy, so that we can put a check and balance in democracy. But when you talk about the economic benefit, in terms of the real economic benefit, we will not get anything from the because the real economy is talking about productivity, talking about efficiency, you're talking about producing goods and services that can relate to it. They are not giving us anything tangible in terms of adding value to Naira. They are not giving us that.
Then let's talk about the misplacement of priority, because quite a number of Nigerians are also believing that, look, this might just be a misplacement of priority, where the allocation of such a large amount to the assembly raises questions about the country's priorities. And then it brings us to, the question of, shouldn't the government, from your point of view, what do you think? Shouldn't the government somewhat prioritize more pressing needs like education, healthcare, and infrastructure development?
Definitely, that would have been the best of all in terms of prioritization, budget allocation. But we need to also understand what is happening in democracy, what is happening in Africa. The centrifugal forces and the centrifugal forces are always playing out. In as much as government at the federal level, like the executive, they want to prioritize budget in some of these areas, security, education. These other ones will also come with their own tangible and intangible demand on the economy. And that's what it is. And it's just like I'm kind of a person that I want to say this. Also, Nigerians on their own are to also to be blamed. For instance, if the presidency has rejected 250 billion of National Assembly, then what would you do in Nigerians to say? They will say the president is not cooperating with National Assembly. I don't know what I get. On the other hand, he has accepted their 359 billion, he has put it in the budget. Now, we say Nigerians are complaining that it is small. If you remember the Terati era, when Terati was the president of National Assembly, it was antagonistic.
Are you there? Hello? Alrighty, well, that's amazing. We will do our best to get a reconnection. But he has spoken, about the fact that, look, in matters like this, it's not just the presidency or the National Assembly that should be, pointed fingers at. That each and every one of us, too, have had a role to play. That if the president had rejected that amount that has been posed to him from the National Assembly, there would have been mouths waggling left, right, and center and saying, oh, the president is not interested in bringing about or allowing for the structures that has been institutionalized, to do the needful in ensuring that they carried out their constitutional responsibility. And now the president has done that, and mouths would still talk about how the president is aiding and abetting the processes and all of that, when he's supposed to look deeply into these matters and of course allow for some sort of would you call it a critiquing of the process? Well, then we're glad to reckon back with him. Welcome back, though. Are you there? Hello? All right, we will get back through to him. But then you can begin to also let us know what your thoughts would be in this matter. I mean, we have been trying to x-ray, the very, very matter that is on the front burner that bothers around Nigeria's budget allocation and how it is beginning to gather momentum of outrage out there. And given what our guest said, he had said, well, just before we begin to use the knife, right, on the yam, we might as well want to consider the fact of what exactly, are these monies slated for? What is it that they are located for? What are they hoping to answer, right? And that's what it is. If there is transparency as to how these monies would be channeled, then we may not really have a problem with it. But then where the challenge would be is when we are not certain where these monies would be channeled to. And it's not just about channeling these monies. It's about also building or putting in place a system or a structure that would ensure that the purposes for which these monies have been channeled are indeed purposefully used, right? So that it could also reflect in the value of our lives. Mr. Olamileko, are you there?
Yes, I'm there.
All right.
Thanks for bringing me back.
Yeah, welcome back. Welcome back. So, but I mean, you've spoken extensively, on that issue, where you also mentioned the fact that, look, if the president had not, given assent to the 300 plus, right? It was $1 billion now. Nigerians would have, spoken ill. If now the president has assented to it, Nigerians would still talk ill. But there is a part of it that really catches my attention, and I'm sure it catches the attention of the listener now. And that part is the part where you say that, look, it's not about the allocation of these monies per se, right? Because of course, as we advance in life and years count, more responsibilities would indeed come up, right? But it's about the being able to justify or be transparent enough to telling us where and how these monies are being allocated, right? If I heard you clearly, right? And that takes us, to the matter that bothers around, that bothers around inequality and equity. I mean, the allocation will further widen the gap between the rich and the poor in Nigeria, who are already struggling with the effects of high inflation. You already know inflation is 33.20%, which some economists and experts are saying that is above that. But let us stick to what has been given to us officially, right? And how can the government then justify such a large allocation to the assemblies when many Nigerians are still struggling to make ends meet? And then you might also look at the place of, an issue that has been on the front burner, the place of corruption and mismanagement, where the many, large allocation of monies in times past has been given to corruption and mismanagement. And then it brings to fore the question of where and how can we ensure transparency and accountability in the use of these very massive allocation. Does that also bother you too, as an economist and analyst too?
The issue about budget, when we intend to discuss budget entirely, budget is an economic process. Budget is what gives life to the economy of any nation. Now, in budget circle, there are two aspects to it. There's expenditure that talk about revenue, there's expenditure that talk about revenue and expenditure. Then, on the revenue side, there are also the expenditures that we have what we call the capital project, as well as the recurrent project. Most of the budgets that goes to National Assembly are more or less like recurrent expenditure, majorly. I hope you are getting it.
Yes, please.
Yeah, recurrent expenditure talk about salaries, allowances, and the rest of them. Where they also have capital projects inside what they are budgeting for. But largely, when we talk about budget of a nation, the capital project is supposed to be more intensive, because that is where the economy will get a big bite in terms of what will aid the economy to grow, what will aid the economy to develop. So while we may be a little bit sad about the National Assembly or the State Assembly budget, is that it is majorly recurrent expenditure. It is majorly about allowances, what will be spent on traveling, what will be spent on ceremonial activities. It doesn't have much of capital intensive projects that will add much to the economy. Say for instance, the National Assembly at the national level in Abuja, they budget so much money. They have budget for library, they have budget for auto park, for car park, they have budget for recreational centers, they have budget for hospitals, they have budget for some things that also have capital intensive, but not as much as they are going to have a huge impact on the economy. I hope you are getting it.
Yeah.
That is the aspect of it. So the budget of State Assembly and National Assembly is because it only deals with areas that doesn't have more relation, that have little relationship to do with growing the economy or aiding the economy. As I earlier pointed out, what the best we can get from the National Assembly and State Assembly budget is tax that workers will be paid on their income. You get it? And a few contracts of supply here, few contracts of building here, that doesn't have much. Although they also add because they are going to generate little employment in their own regards, but not as much as if those money have been allocated to the larger economy in the area of education, in the area of security, the area of sport and the rest of them. Although those ones also have their own shortcomings.
Yeah.
Because in Nigeria, because if you critically look at Nigerian budget, discover that the entire budget, more than 60-70% is very current. It's for paying of salaries and emolument for people. It doesn't really take care of the capital expenses that will really add to the economy. And when you now relate it to the other aspect of the economy that deals with the value of money, you can't really get it.
Right.
So those are the issues. But as I earlier pointed out, if we really want to dig deep and criticize this National Assembly and State Budget Assembly, we should mirror our or explain what they are earning. Because that is where the problem is.
Let's know what they are earning, right? What they are collecting.
What they are using all the money for,
yes.
In terms of sitting arrangements, committee here.
All right. Well, that being said, let's open the phone lines now and get to hear from you. You can join the conversation as you join the discourse via the studio number 0907 353 0044 or 0908 766 8888. And the WhatsApp portal number would be 0909 705 4450. And be sure to also note that you can send a WhatsApp portal message to that number. You could send a voice note as well, and you can send a text message, right? That way we ensure that everybody is heard and nobody is left out in the process. And if you're joining across social media platforms, so you're doing well across Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, and YouTube, do well to also give us a subscription. We're still talking matters that bother around Nigeria's budget allocation and how it is sparking some sort of an outrage out there. And yes, there are some concerns that also come to limelight. Some of the concerns might be, in addition to what our guest has said, where he says we should know what these assembly members are earning. What are they worth? That's the question. What are they worth? Do we really know these things? Do we know these things? Maybe if we knew these things, it might also go a long way in allowing for some transparency, allowing for some accountability, and also allowing for them to be mindful of certain actions that they may take that might be inimical to the progress of the country. But taking the score now. Hello, good morning.
Hello, good afternoon or good morning.
Good morning to you.
How are you?
Very well, thank you, BB.
I greet our guests for the studio. God bless you now for this good topic. My name is BB Bless. We are talking about budget ban.
Yes, please.
For half of ourselves from National Assembly ban. This budget what we are talking about, which pocket will this budget they call? Is it government pocket or individual pocket? May we know people Nigeria will be paid for darkness where we know how they have been budgeted this money between me and you. What you are selling, they will come and collect money for your hand. You are paid for NEPA bill, you are paid for light bill, you are paid for load bill, and you are paid for your house bill, land where you buy. Government, you see, they collect money for your hand. I want to ask, now be the budget where they say they pay National Assembly or now, like the Senate now, you get budget where they go come out now. After our president, they don't sign that budget, they go to the bank and collect the money. And that budget, what the budget mean? I think when you budget something, let the Nigeria know what that budget works for. Like now, you budget, you want to do road for Nigeria, you want to do road for my state, and they give you the money. You not use that money, do that road. What Nigeria is supposed to do for that person? Now you say you want to connect light for my state. You make a quiet. You budget.
Oh, BB is out right there. Well, then you can keep that calls coming through. Let us know your angle, to the matter in discourse today. But we should also bring to your eardrums that a supplementary budget has not been passed in Nigeria just yet. However, the International Monetary Fund, IMF, has recommended that Nigeria's federal government raise the supplementary budgets to somewhat accommodate the proposed minimum wage increase for workers, and that the recommended supplementary budgets is also needed because the negotiation amount may surpass the budget amount, and in the original 2024 budget, I'm going to be giving you some details. I'll be giving you some details about the recommended supplementary budgets after we go pay some bills. This is Eagles 102.3 FM Abuja, where we give you an audio-visual radio experience that you can count on anytime, any day. Don't go away.
Are you ready for this?
Keep this frequency clear.
We're live. I woke up with a Eagles FM 102.3 Abuja.
Hi there. Do you want to know how to get the correct approval or documents for your land and property? Do you need the right information on how you can prevent your building from being demolished? Then tune in to Town Planning Program on Eagles 102.3 FM Abuja every Thursday by 4:30 p.m.
Eagles 102.3 Abuja.
Through our research and policy memos, we have identified the challenges facing youth civic participation. Now, It's time to equip you with the tools you need to engage with government agencies and elected leaders effectively. Are you tired of feeling sidelined in the governance process? Do you want to make a difference in your community? Don't let your voice go unheard. Tune into Eagles 102.3 FM, Abuja, every Tuesday at 11 a.m. on the Civic Martyrs and be part of the movement for a more inclusive, accountable, and transparent government. Our mission is clear: to bridge the gap between citizens and government, ensuring that public resources are allocated to address your priorities. The Civic Martyrs is sponsored by ProMed Foundation with the support of the Nigerian Youth Futures Fund, NYFF.
No offense to the commercials. It's just that we want to see other audio.
Eagles 102.3.
Always indeed an experience that you can count on anytime, any day. And yes, it's not just an experience that we spew out. It is something that allows for an audio-visual matching. And so yes, we give you an audio-visual radio experience that you can count on anytime, any day. Don't mistake the handle or the frequency. It is Eagles 102.3 FM Abuja, and yes, it is 34 minutes gone past the hour of 9 on the AM side. We're still talking politics and current affairs on Eagles Outlook on the topical issue that bothers around Nigeria's budget allocation, sparking an outrage. And yes, I said just before we went on that break, I brought it to your eardrums that I would give you some recommended, some details about, the recommended supplementary budget. Well, the government is allocated 6.48 trillion naira for personal cost in the 2024 budget, but the IMF posits that the amount may be insufficient. Right now, the country's budget deficit for 2024 is expected to surpass projections, owing to implicit subsidies for fuel and electricity, alongside rising interest expenses on debt. And finally, one of the high points would be the place of where the Minister of Finance, Wale Edun, had stated the government planned to reduce the budget deficit from 6.1%, right, in the 2023 budgets to 3.8% in the current appropriation right there. And yes, these are the concerns that, is ongoing in that regard. But if we are looking back at some more concerns that bother around the 724 billion naira that's been allocated, for the national and state assemblies, one concern would be one of opportunity cost, right? The place of opportunity cost for those who did economy, where the allocation would mean that the other important sectors will receive less funding, which could exacerbate, which could aggravate, the economic hardship caused by inflation rates. High inflation rate, basically. So that is the point. That's the part. And you might also want to ask the question of what important projects then and initiatives will be sacrificed to fund the assembly's, expenses. And that is a question that quite a number of Nigerians want to know. I'm sure you want to know. I want to know. How then? Because it will mean that the government has to put it out to us through its relevant links, whether the special advisor or maybe on a Minister of Information, whoever whoever is saddled with that office to give us an insight into how right these monies would be allocated to fund some of these issues, right? Well, Mr. Defolari, are you there?
Yes.
Yeah,
Thank you for bringing me back.
indeed, welcome back. But then when we look at, we talked about the place of, opportunity cost. And as an economist, you totally understand that. And the question, has always been, the allocation might affect other important sectors, and that might receive less funding, and which could exacerbate, economic hardship due to high inflation rate. And then the place of what important projects and initiatives will be sacrificed, to fund the assembly's expenses. But let's even take a turn to the dollar to naira value, where the fluctuating dollar to naira value, well, some are saying, will affect the purchasing power of the allocated amount. Do you also share in that thought in this regard?
Definitely could, but one thing we must quickly isolate out of this issue, as I earlier pointed out, is that the budget of the State House of Assembly and National Assembly majorly focus on recurrent expenditure. That is one. Now, recurrent expenditure, how much of the value naira exchange rate affects recurrent expenditure? And when you talk about recurrent expenditure, you're talking about salaries, allowances of people who are working in the National Assembly as well as the legislature. Now, where we could have a big challenge of the naira exchange value on the budget or the allocation of the assembly is if their capital projects are intensive, like construction, like a procurement of items that will be imported into the country.
Yeah.
Or for intensive projects that demand high technology impact. So that is where they could have a much of naira value exchange problem. But the other hand, that has to do with people's salaries, people's allowances they collect. Definitely, if you go to the market, the high cost of price of food items affect them. But if we really want to be critical about the entire allocation, we should rather think of how we can improve their capital project aspect, so that the capital project can be of more value to the economy.
When we talk capital projects, what kind of projects are that, so that we can just help the listener? What kind of projects are the capital projects?
Like now, for instance, if State Assembly are saying they are going to build a medical center that will offer services, but not just the members of the national, their State Assembly, but as well for the citizens and residents of the state. That could be a valuable
capital project. Okay, awesome.
Yes, that's a capital project.
Okay.
Let's say, for instance, the road within the environment that the State House of Assembly is located would also facilitate movement of not just the Assembly's member, but for people living within that environment. It's a good project. Get it? Now, take for instance, library. They have a library. They are building a library. That library will not just serve them, it will serve the entire public, the entire residents, as well as individuals. That's a good one, because library is meant for resourceful exercise, research, and education. So that could be a valuable project to them. And with that, we can look at, okay, by the time they want to construct it and naira value is falling, those are the aspects that we can. But the salaries and allowance, although it has an impact, but we should also know that these salaries and allowance is hidden. We don't even know what they are earning.
All right, let's put it back to your thought and just quickly take this call. Hello, good morning. All right, that's a miss. Do well to keep the calls coming through. 0907-353-0044 is that number to call. The other number is 0908-766-8888. Hello, good morning.
Hello, sir, good morning.
Yes, good morning to you.
Yeah, my name is Honorable Edward.
All right, welcome, Honorable.
Yeah. Sir, I think the research is needed here.
What is needed?
I said the research is needed here. We need to go on research before this type of topic to be discussed, because I can see most of the State Assembly.
Are you there?
I say most of the State Assembly.
Yeah.
I think in Nigeria they don't have autonomy. Yeah, State Assembly has no autonomy in Nigeria. And then the National Assembly has autonomy. So where and how do they get that figure? Because what is paid in River State cannot be the same thing with Nasarawa State. And what is paid in Lagos cannot be the same with Zamfara. After that, I know the National Assembly has, projects such as constituency project, That is intervention. They call it intervention. And all those things. And they have tasks both at the state and the National Assembly. How do they get this figure? How do they get this figure? Because they are not the same. Does it mean, okay, for instance, if I'm a governor and you decided to, you give me 20,000 naira to pay a governor of national state, that means to pay to state assembly. I may decide to pay, give them 10,000 naira. And the one in River State may give them 15,000 naira. So how do they know that this money is going to state assembly?
All right. Okay.
So we need to know where, how, because I'm confused. All the state assembly have budgeted their money. National Assembly have done their budget, which is more than this money. Is it outside the budget? Is this money coming outside the budget or how?
Okay.
I can't just get.
All right, Honorable Edwards. Thank you so much for that one right there. Honorable Edwards is asking a very primal question right there. Where, how is it going to be allocated? Where are they getting this monies from, and all of that? And he asked a question about it around whether or not the state assembly, has some sort of has autonomy. Well, the state assemblies in Nigeria does have some level of autonomy, but it is somewhat limited. So the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria 1999 grants state assemblies certain powers and responsibilities such as lawmaking, right, and matters that border around budget approval, oversight functions right there. However, the autonomy of the state assemblies is limited by some factors that border around constitutional constraints, where the Constitution sets limits on the powers of state assemblies, and the financial dependence, where state assemblies rely on the federal government for funding, and which can impact their said independence, and the political influence, whereof as well state assemblies are often influenced by the political party at the state, in the power at the states and federal levels. And judicial review is yet another part of it that might hinder that power or autonomous. Yes, that's it. So the courts can actually review and nullify laws passed by state assemblies if they are deemed unconstitutional. But if, despite all of these limitations, though, state assemblies actually pass, or they play an important role within the Nigerian democratic system. Hello, good morning. Hello? Okay, so that is it. Well, keep it coming, though. You can get onto the WhatsApp portal and let me know what you think right there. I've got another call. Hello, good morning. Hello? Yes. Oh, okay.
This budget, where they talk, which pocket where this budget is coming from? What do they want to use this money do? Can common man achieve for this money where the budget, where National Assembly budget? Now the question where me they ask is that they want to take this budget do roads for common man from Nigeria, or they want use this budget do hospital where we say all the National Assembly they go, all our president they go. What if they want to use this budget where they have the budget to do? Who shall count where this money will go to come out and question where they have to that?
Okay. Baby blessing. Thank you for that one. Well, Mr. Adefolari, are you there?
Yes,
you've heard what Nigerians are saying right there, and the question about whether the state is autonomous. Well, I think I've tried my bidding to put an answer to that. How would you react to some of these concerns as we also look at the place of public trust, within this entire conversation?
I think to start with, the state assembly has autonomy.
Right.
But because of the, I made mention of the center figure and the center figure forces.
Yes.
That's what has kept the state assembly so low that nobody hear about them when they make laws or when they do anything. And the state assembly is supposed to complement national assembly in a way that most laws that are being passed at national assembly level, state assembly is supposed to domesticate or have a review of it and see how it can be domiciled at their state level. But here we are the challenges. Most of the people in the state assembly are stooges of either national leaders of the political party or stooges of the governor. Yet, so that's why most of them don't perform at all. And state assembly, in my own understanding, as we have seen either now or in the past, it is just a place to go and play. You just go all around 4 years and play. They don't pass any law. They don't do any oversight function. And that's why I said earlier that the money that they get, like the half of that 720 something billion that we are talking about, most times they just get it and they don't do any function activities on it, apart from passing the budget at the state level.
So what do you
like
think?
What Honorable
Honorable Edwards, go ahead.
Like what the Honorable was asking, whether we should do a research on. There are a lot of research on the state assembly showing that they are not functioning as expected. The constitution has given them that power, but because of the interest of each member that go to the assembly to work, what they are just interested in go and accumulate money from themselves and away. But the same thing is that we don't know how much they are earning as salary. We don't know how much state assembly members are earning. Just like we don't know what national assembly members also are earning as salary.
But we do know what the president is earning, don't we?
Hello?
Do we know what the president is earning, though?
Yes, we know what the president
we
is
do know
earning.
what the president is earning.
Is open.
Yeah.
He's not up to 2 million. I think he's earning about 1.6 million. Vice president about 1.3 million. Ministers about 994,000. Then the same thing with PAMSEC and the rest of them. But the National Assembly members, we don't know how much, including governors. The governors are not earning up to what president is earning. It's within the range of 1.4 to 1.5 million monthly. And commissioner earn less than what ministers are earning. Get it? And then it is all specified in further salary allocation, whatever. Yeah, for the state National Assembly zone, we don't know. That's where we have issue.
Yeah.
So now for Blessing, who has the question, what is the money? Now, Blessing should know that the tax, we all contribute to budget through taxes.
Yeah.
To what the government is earning. Get it to what the government is earning by revenue or selling crude oil. Now, the money that go to National Assembly or State Assembly are meant to pay salaries of civil servants, which is listening. The money that are in the budget of National Assembly and State Assembly are meant to pay salaries of people working in that State Assembly. It's meant to also help them to do the work they normally are expected them to do, like going up and down, doing oversight function, printing paper, printing this, publishing that. Those are what the money is meant for. So you should understand that the money is not meant to give to any agriculture. The money is not meant to build any road. The money is meant to pay salary of civil servants. She may have a brother or sister working in State Assembly or in National Assembly here. It is from that budget they pay their salary. It is that budget that the National Assembly members also get their salary and all the money they spend in carrying out their activity, including the cars that they bought. It's from that same salary, that budget they buy the cars that they bought for themselves.
All right. Well, then, that being said, you can still connect with Eagles 102.3 FM and join the discourse. But let's talk about the public trust, yeah? The allocation, of course, as many are saying, further erodes public trust in, government, which is already low due to the perceived mismanagement of the economy. So, how do you think that the government can regain the trust of Nigerians when such a large allocation is made to the assemblies in the face of a time where the NLC and the organized labor are still somewhat in talks with the presidency or with the federal government in ensuring that there is a new minimum wage, and yet that has not been given the attention or the response that is expected. Rather, we are seeing a 724 billion naira allocation for national assemblies and state assemblies. How does that, how do you put all of that together as you give your end notes to the discourse?
I think in terms of minimum wage, we have to separate this issue from minimum wage.
Right.
It's not there. They are far apart.
All right.
The minimum wage is you see, the discussion of minimum wage, a lot of people are misconcepting what minimum wage is all about. But I hope we have a time to discuss.
Okay.
That is far apart.
Right.
This particular issue. But what we should be looking at, what is the public trust? How can Nigerian government gain the trust of it? It's going to take a long walk to gain the trust of Nigerians. But what it means is that we have to rewrite some of the laws that we have. We have to review some of the activities of how people who are in government live and earn. But one of the things that I've brought about mistrust in governance is the earning parity between people in government and the citizens. I hope you get it.
Right.
Yes, because if you don't review that particular aspect, then they will not get the trust of.
Okay.
It's usually by people in government are living so well, so large at the expense of the people. There is nobody that can trust anybody. And the people themselves, most Nigerians are also looking for opportunity that one day they will get into government.
Right.
And they also want to be large like that. So we must be able to rewrite our laws on how we spend on politicians to appoint. So the civil servants themselves, we have to review it. When we review it, when we know that we have a separate minimum standard for people who are going to be in government, that they are not earning too much, they are not taking too much from us, just contribute. But at this point in time, you can't build any trust when there's a divide in terms of an unequal earning parity between the people and the government and the people in government. Then when you now relate it to, if you want to now to relate it to minimum wage, it's quite very, very large. In the sense that minimum we're talking about the least that anybody can earn.
Yes.
But right now, all the people in government are earning more than minimum wage. They are earning above the minimum wage they are set for themselves, particularly appointees. Other government staff that you're talking about,
my link, is that in the face of the squabble and the tussle, to even put a peg on a minimum wage, which has not even been decided just yet, we're seeing increments. We're seeing, to the tune of 724 billion naira. How does that, water down in the hearts of Nigerians? That's my point exactly. We've not even had a peg to a minimum wage just yet. I don't know if you understand, where I'm coming from, right?
I get it.
Okay.
I get it.
Yeah.
In the sense that why should we be having so bogus amount for budgeting?
Yes. All right.
From all explanation and discussion so far, we have been able to identify, yes, the 720 something billion as a means of also adding to the economy, but not as we expected.
Yeah, okay.
You get it?
Okay.
Because inside that money, there are Nigerians who are workers in National Assembly, civil servants who are also members of NSC, members of TUs. They are earning their salary from that particular budget. So, if we say we don't want, if we say we don't want to have such amount of money, that means it will also affect their salaries at the end of the day, because their salary may not be taken care of.
Yeah.
The way we have issue with this money is that the legislator, the people who consider themselves as senator and House of Reps member and assembly member, we don't know how much is what is coming to them in terms of salary.
All right. For want of time,
we don't know it.
Yeah, for want of time, Mr. Defulari, thank you, though. We cannot go any further. Time is fast spent, but thank you for, exposing and bringing to light, some of these concerns. I think it has been enlightening thus far.
All right, thank you so much.
Yes, please.
Very good, thank you. Good morning to all our listeners.
Exactly. All right, and that is Mr. Defulari Olamilekan. He is a political economist, a lead research and policy analyst, right? I see some of your messages right there. I see you talking about James all the way from Suleja. Cannot go into that. And Tekembi Hundu, thank you. Oh my goodness. Apologies, though, we cannot go into your messages. But yes, thank you for also giving us listening ear. Even though you've not, put your voice or stamp your voice in the discourse, we still appreciate you. Tomorrow is yet another day, and be sure to stick your ears as well as your eyes on this particular platform, Eagles 102.3 FM Abuja, because we give you an audiovisual radio experience that you can count on anytime, any day. My name is Udwak Daniel.